Hey, what's going on? My name's Tim Williams. We're here to break down today's 14-game MLB DraftKings slate. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tim. We've been breaking down these main contests over on DraftKings for the MLB season. If that's something that you're interested, definitely subscribe. You don't want to miss out on any of this content. Hit that like button. I really appreciate it. Let's just dive right in. We got a lot to get into, and I'm going to do it as fast as I can. So 9.5 over under for this first game. We have the A's taking on the Orioles. I love this matchup for both teams, more so for the Oakland side. They've been red hot. They're 6 overall total in home runs, as you can see there. Guys I love in play here for a stack would be Olsen at 5K, Chapman 4.8, Canna at 4.3. He's probably going to hit at the top of the order. Laureano at 5K, and then Murphy behind the plate at 4.3K, I think is very reasonable. I think there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this game. Baltimore back at home in one of the better hitting environments in all of baseball. Pitching wise, I don't like either. Let's just get that out of the way. But Orioles hitting wise, they're not a very good hitting team, but in a favorable matchup and in a good spot. Mancini at 5.4K. I don't think anybody's going to be paying up for him. Mountcastle at 4.2K is fairly cheap given the talent. I know he hasn't been hitting so far this season, but he's very, very talented. Severino at 4K. I like him in the catcher spot going against lefties. And then Hayes at 2.9K, just kind of a flyer, maybe a filler if you're stacking at all. Next, we have the Nationals in the Mets. 7 over under here. Mets at home, Jacob deGrom on the mound facing Fetty. I really, really love deGrom here. No surprise here. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. 10.9K. There's no reason not to pay for him in this spot. On the national side, yes, they've been hitting the ball for average, but they cannot hit home runs. The same thing with the Mets, too. They're hitting it for average. They're getting on base. They're just not getting the ball out of the park. On the Washington side, I'm not really interested in anybody. And then for the Mets, I'm not really interested in anybody too. It's a low over under. They're playing in Citi Field. It's going to be kind of chilly. Conforto, it maybe is a one-off at 3.6K because of the cheap price. And then Alonso, if I'm paying up 5.2K, I think he's going to go relatively underowned. Next, we have the Mariners at the Red Sox, 9 over under, wind blowing out. Probably one of the best matchups on this slate as far as ballpark and weather. Kikuchi taking on Perez, 2 lefties here. I don't like either pitcher in this matchup. Maybe Perez if you're really trying to be sneaky, because I think the Mariners are going to go high owned like they were last night. Mariners in general, not a very good hitting team, 29th in average, 25th in on base percentage. They strike out quite a bit. In play, though, Haniger at 4.1, still really cheap. Lewis at 3.2 just came off the DL. France at 3.8K, and then Murphy at 2.7K behind the plate. Murphy intrigues me. I don't. Maybe he'll go lower owned. The other guys I think are going to go higher owned. So in GPPs, I might just stay away. But cash games are definitely viable. And then on the Red Sox side, they're still one of the best hitting teams in baseball. First in average, second in on-base percentage, 9th in home runs here. Martinez at the top at 6K. The problem is the Red Sox, like you have Bogarts and, Hernandez, you have Devers and stuff, but they're all really priced up. So it's really tough to get to deGrom and then maybe Tyler Glasnow later, and then try to fit in any of these Red Sox hitters. But a good way to do it is maybe sneak in Renfroe at 3.2K. Hits lefties very well, winds blowing out, very cheap for him. And then Dahlbeck as well. He had a huge spring, 3.6K. I think he's getting used to this home field environment. I like him in this spot. There's not much to lose here with those two guys. Next, we have the Blue Jays taking on the Rays. You have Matz at 8.9K, which is a little bit too expensive. Yes, he's been pitching very well, but I just don't like the matchup. And then going against the Rays, Glasnow at 10.1K, probably the second best pitcher on the slate as far as upside goes. 7 over under. However, I do have interest in this Tampa Bay side. Steven Matz, I don't know if he's going to get a lot of ownership, but I just don't think he is as good as how he has been pitching. So I really like the Rays side here, specifically Arozarena at 4.6K, Meadows 4.1, love Margot's price 2.7K, Diaz 3.7, and then Brosseau has some power 3.5K. I think this Rays team isn't going to be very owned at all. And they're playing at home. They're in a dome. Yes, I know the over-under is 7, but there's just something about this team. They're starting to click. They're starting to, catch on fire a little bit. So I like them in this matchup. On the Blue Jays side, facing Glasnow, I don't really like anybody, mainly just just Biggio 3.5 because of the price. Matchup's okay. Next, we have the Yankees, Indians. Yankees favorited on the road, 8.5 over under. Montgomery comically priced at 9.6K. I think he's an okay pitcher for sure, but that's just too high. Just spend up and get one of the aces on the slate. And then Allen, who to me, it just isn't going to go past 5 innings, I think, at 8.1K taking on the Yankees. No thanks. Yankees obviously having some troubles here as far as, hitting the ball. Obviously, a lot of these guys are still in play here. Judge, Stanton, DJ, Sanchez, Torres. Their prices are fairly high, but they're coming down for what they were. I don't think I have a lot of interest in the Yankees, but I could see why you would. So definitely in play. I think they're going to go kind of popular. They're going to be owned a little bit. And then on the Indian side, just maybe a one-off here. They are 10th in average, so maybe or 10th in home runs, excuse me. So maybe they do get one over the fence. Ramirez at 5.1, Reyes at 4.8. I actually like quite a bit. And then Luplow, 4.3K. He's probably leading off. Those are the only three I really have interest in. Next, we have the Royals and the Tigers. Royals favored here on the road, 8 over under. Minor at 6.9K is actually a fairly good price for him. Taking on Mize at 6.4. Mize is very talented. He's too young. He's not a good DraftKings kind of guy so far. Minor at 6.9. I think it's either boom or bust with him. I think Minor against this Tigers team who's 6th in strikeouts. I think it's a fair price. And you could take a stab at him in GPPs, or it could go the other way. The Tigers could beat up on him, and the Tigers are probably going to go low owned. So I think I'm going to favor the Tigers side on this one. I like Goodrum at 3.6K, Ramos at 4.8, Shope at 3.3. Don't sleep on these guys. They're actually pretty good against left-handed pitching. And then on the Royals side, it's just kind of hoping one of these guys hits a home run. Everybody else is priced up. So Soler at 3.8, Dozier at 3.6. It's kind of it. Next, we have the Diamondbacks Braves, 8.5 over under. Braves favored. It's a little bit of a cooler night in Georgia. We have Weaver taking on Ynoa. I don't like really either pitcher. If I had to take one, it would be Ynoa. He's kind of a two-pitch pitcher. So, he's probably only good for going through the lineup once and twice, and that's about it. So I don't like that he probably will only last 5 or 6 innings. On the Diamondback side, they exploded yesterday. So maybe they're going to cool down. I'm not sure. But Calhoun at 2.9K is so cheap for the power. And then Escobar, I have a little bit of interest in at 4K. And then on the other side, the Braves, they're all just really, really priced up. So it's really hard to get to Freeman and Ozuna and stuff. But Acuna at 6.3 is the one spend up I'd consider if he's back in. Next, we have the Rangers taking on the White Sox, 8.5 over under. You have Dunning taking on Cease. Dunning 7.3K. I don't know if I'm going to get there. Right? White Sox are, they're a very good team. They're better against lefties. So Dunning's in a pretty okay spot, and he's actually facing his former team, but I'm not going to go there. Cease, a lot of talent. 6.6K is pretty cheap for him, especially taking on the Rangers who are first in strikeouts. However, Cease walks a lot of guys, so I kind of like the Rangers side in this one. Gallo at 4.2K, Lau at 4.7K, Solek 4.9K. I'll kind of price just about right. Solek maybe a little too expensive, but no one's probably going to be playing a lot of these Rangers, at least in a stack. Dahl at 3.4K, Calhoun 2.8K. I think it's very reasonable to get all those guys in there, especially if you're taking some of these aces. And then on the other side, the White Sox, I got a couple guys listed here. Obviously, Abreu is a good spend up here, but it just in general, I think there's better spots on this 14-game slate. Next, you have the Angels taking on the Astros. Astros at home, 8 over under. Heaney, 6.5K is actually a really reasonable price. Taking on Greinke, 8.7K. No thanks on Greinke. And then Heaney, it depends. I think his ownership is going to be pretty low, so I think he's a flyer in GPPs, but fly ball pitcher, Astros at home, one of the better offenses in baseball, 6 overall in average. I have more interest on the Astros side. Obviously for the Angels, they're 2nd in average, 2nd in home runs, 7th in on-base percentage. Trout, Ohtani, Walsh, in that order, I like a lot. Trout might not play though, so keep an eye on that. And then Astros, I love Bregman at 4.9K. He was so low owned yesterday, so I don't know if the ownership's going to stay down on him, but that price is very, very solid. And then it goes Correa at 5K for me, Gurriel 4.5K. He'll definitely be lower owned. And then I like Diaz a lot against lefties at 3.9K. Next, we have the Pirates taking on the Twins, 8 over under. Brubaker taking on Happ. Don't care for any of these pitchers in this one. Happ, especially, I think he's just kind of getting past his prime here. Pirates, they have a sneaky good offense at times. I think there's better spots, but Reynolds at 4K. Price just about right. Evans 3.5K. He's been kind of hot. And then if Todd Frazier cracks the lineup, 2.7K I think is pretty reasonable, taking on Happ. And then for the Twins, they're 4th in average, 5th in on-base percentage. Love that for them. They don't strike out as much as people really think. And then 21st in home runs. Keep an eye on this game. I do have some interest in the Twins. Cruz at 4.6K seems like a steal. And then Buxton at 6.1, which is a lot of money. And then Donaldson price just about right at 5K. Maybe get one of those guys in there possibly. But other than that, not a lot to love. And then next we have the Reds and the Cardinals here, 8 over under. Sonny Gray taking on Kim. Gray at 9.3K. It's expensive. He does have talent, but he is coming off an injury. I still don't want to pay for him unless I know he's going to go. He has the possibility of going a full game. Reds, one of the best offenses in baseball currently. However, I do like them better at home. But in play for sure, Castellanos 5.3K. He has a lot of upside. Suarez as well. That's kind of about it. And then on the other side, it's Kim. No thanks on the pitching. But, Cardinals, sneaky offense so far, 6 in home runs. I will say that taking on Gray, and I just don't like this environment. Carlson at 2.8K, I think, is a very good GPP option here. Next, we have the Phillies, Rockies, highest over-under total here, 10.5. This is probably by far going to be the most popular bats on the slate. Velasquez at 5.9. No thank you there. Fly ball pitcher, bad hitting environment for him. So love the Rockies in this one. And then on the other side, Rockies, Marquez. I actually think that price is really cheap for Marquez, but it's the Phillies. They have a lot of, power bats on their side. So maybe I'll build a lineup with Marquez, but I just don't love the matchup here. Definitely in play pretty much all of these hitters. On the Phillies side, Harper at 5.7, Bohm really cheap, 3.5K, McCutchen 3.5K, Miller 3K. He might be hitting 5th in this lineup. Mickey Moniak at 2.3K, so cheap. And then on the Rocky side, I love Story. Maybe he'll finally hit his first home run in what seems like God knows what forever. 5.1K, Crone 3.9K, Blackman 4.5K is so cheap. Tapia 3K, Nunez. The problem is that there's just going to be so much ownership in this one. So I might look at some one-offs here, but I'm not going to be stacking unless I'm playing those cash 50-50 double ups or any other than that. But next we have the Marlins taking on the Giants. I'll be honest here, I don't have a lot of interest in this one. 7.5 over under. I actually think Wood's going to be a popular pitcher in this one. 7.1K taking on the Marlins, who are kind of have some injuries going on in their team. I will say I like Duvall at 3.9K because of the power upside. Aguilar 3.4K. Birdie 2.9K. I think you can stack this team, especially if Wood's going to be a popular pitcher on the Giants. That's one way to get some leverage against your opponents, especially if you're trying to fit in maybe a big bat like Bryce Harper, and then you're getting a DeGrom and Glasnow as your pitchers. So that's one way to go about it. And then on the Giants side, I don't really like anybody. Yes, I know they're second in home runs, but don't care for much with all of these other games in play. But I will say Brandon Bell at 3K, if he is playing, is really, really cheap. And then last, we have the Padres taking on the Dodgers, 7 over under here. I don't really like any of these bats in this one. I think this is going to be, a classic, rivalry game. You have Darvish taking on Kershaw again. I actually like Darvish at 9.7K. That price might scare some people off, or maybe the fact that they're playing the Giants might scare some people off. But he had a huge game, 5 days ago. I actually might have interest in Darvish for sure. Maybe it's a different way to get unique. For the bats for the Padres, obviously Tatis is always in play at 4.6K. But if Tommy Pham cracks this lineup, he's at the flat minimum price of 2K. And I don't care if he's 30% owned. Getting somebody with that much potential, yes, I know he's been struggling. And yes, I know he's facing Clayton Kershaw, but he is better against lefties. He's going to be in a decent hitting environment. I think it's why not, right? It's 2K. It gives you the chance to, get some better bats and better pitching in your lineup. And then on the Dodgers side, it's Seager and Muncy. That's about it for me. Like I said, I don't really love the bats in this one. I think it's more of a pitching one. You could definitely get unique and play Darvish and Kershaw and fade DeGrom. If DeGrom has a bad game and that, you just probably going to pass all those people. But there's a lot of options in this one. It's a little bit tricky, but the best thing to do is just whittle it down to a few games and then pick from there. If this helped you, huge thumbs up, please. That helps me so much. Subscribe if you can. My name's Tim. Best of luck to you today, and may luck and variance be on your side.